What becomes of jewels once their owner is gone? Do they become mere cold metal and faceted minerals? Or do they continue to hold the warmth of a touch, the glint of a glance, and the echo of the events they witnessed? Perhaps no jewelry collection sparks as much curiosity or is shrouded in such an aura of mystery and drama as the legacy of Diana, Princess of Wales. Her adornments were not just accessories. They were the silent chroniclers of her dazzling, vibrant, and tragically short life. Let us open this jewelry box and trace the fate of the most iconic treasures of the Queen of Hearts. We shall begin with a piece that announced Diana's status to the world even before she became part of the royal family, the Spencer family tiara. When Lady Diana Spencer stepped out of her carriage at St. Paul's Cathedral on the 29th of July, 1981, the world held its breath. But beyond the magnificent gown, the eyes of connoisseurs were fixed upon her head. Defying expectations, she wore not one of the tiaras from the royal collection, but her own family heirloom. It was a powerful symbolic gesture. A young woman from an ancient aristocratic line whose lineage spans more than 5 centuries was marrying the heir to the throne, possessing a crown of her own. The tiara itself is a true masterpiece of jewelry artistry, created by the House of Garrard in the 1930s from elements that had belonged to the Spencer family for generations. The central piece, a stylized floral centerpiece set with diamonds, was a wedding gift to Lady Sarah Spencer from a distant relative in 1919. Later, side elements in the shape of tulips and stars, framed by scrolling foliage, and also from the family's antique jewels, were added. This entire splendor of gold and silver is encrusted with old-cut, rose-cut, and modern brilliant-cut diamonds. Diana adored this tiara. It was significantly lighter and more comfortable than the cumbersome royal diadems, and more importantly, it was a part of her own history. It was this tiara she wore on her first official overseas tours as the Princess of Wales. But what of its fate? By the unwritten law of aristocratic families, such heirlooms belong to the lineage, not the individual. They are passed down through the main line of succession. Following her divorce from Prince Charles and, ultimately after her death, the tiara returned to the Spencer family, its rightful owners. Today it is kept at the family estate, Althorpe, and belongs to Diana's brother, Earl Charles Spencer. In theory, any Spencer bride could wear it for her wedding. However, when Diana's niece, Lady Kitty Spencer, married in an incredibly lavish celebration, she wore several magnificent gowns but never appeared in the famous tiara. Rumors began to circulate among the public about a troubled aura surrounding the piece, linked to the unhappy marriage and tragic fate of its most famous wearer. Whether this is true or mere superstition, we do not know, but the fact remains. The Spencer tiara has yet to re-emerge into the light at a public celebration. But if the family tiara was a symbol of her origins, the jewel that marked her entry into the royal family would become perhaps the most recognizable ring in the world. We are speaking, of course, of her engagement ring. In February of 1981, the House of Garrard presented Lady Diana Spencer with a tray of several options for an engagement ring. Her choice fell upon the one now known to the world, a magnificent 12-carat oval-cut Ceylon sapphire surrounded by a halo of 14 flawless diamonds in a setting of 18-carat white gold. This choice caused a quiet stir at court. The reason was that the ring was not a bespoke creation made exclusively for the future princess. It was part of Garrard's regular collection and cost, at the time, £28,500 sterling. In theory, any person of means could have purchased the very same one. But for Diana, it held special meaning. According to one account, it reminded her of her mother's engagement ring. According to another, Prince Charles himself suggested it because it resembled a sapphire brooch given by his great-great-great-grandfather, Prince Albert, to Queen Victoria. Diana wore this ring throughout her marriage and even for some time after her divorce. Following her death, When Prince William and Prince Harry were sorting through their mother's personal effects, they were allowed to choose something to keep in her memory. Prince Harry chose the sapphire ring, while William chose a gold Cartier watch. However, the brothers made a pact that whichever of them was first to marry would use their mother's ring to propose. And so, when in 2010 Prince William prepared to propose to Kate Middleton, Harry, true to his word, gave the ring to his brother. Since then, it has rarely left the finger of the current Princess of Wales, becoming a symbol of continuity and of the enduring memory of Diana. But there was another, no less significant ring in Diana's collection that told a very different story, a story of liberation and new beginnings. After her divorce from Charles, Diana commissioned a ring from the House of Asprey featuring an immense emerald-cut aquamarine flanked by small diamonds. This sky-blue stone, clear and transparent, symbolized for her the start of a new chapter. She first wore it in 1996 during a visit to Australia, replacing the sapphire ring that was associated with her marriage. This ring was part of a set with a 5-strand pearl bracelet featuring an equally large aquamarine at its center. The fate of this set has also been noteworthy. The ring was inherited by Prince Harry, and on her wedding day in 2018, his new wife, Meghan Markle, appeared wearing it at the evening reception. This gesture was seen as a tribute to her late mother-in-law. The fate of the matching bracelet, however, remains unknown. It may also be in the Duchess of Sussex's collection, but she has not yet appeared in public with it, leaving room for speculation. However, beyond the rings that symbolize the stages of her personal life, Diana's jewelry box contained a gift that showcased her brilliant ability to transform royal protocol into personal style. For her wedding, Diana received a multitude of lavish gifts, and one of them was from the Queen Mother. It was an impressive brooch, an enormous oval-cut Ceylon sapphire encircled by a double row of sparkling diamonds. Diana, being a young and modern woman, was not particularly fond of brooches, considering them somewhat old-fashioned. She wore it as intended for a short time, but soon a brilliant idea came to her. She approached jewelers with a request to transform the brooch into a centerpiece for a choker. Thus, one of her most famous pieces was born. 7 strands of exquisite pearls, fastened at the front with the massive sapphire and diamond clasp. It was in this necklace that Diana made fashion history. She wore it in 1985 to a reception at the White House, where she danced with John Travolta. But its most iconic appearance was in 1994, on the very evening Prince Charles publicly confessed to his infidelity. Diana appeared at a party at the Serpentine Gallery in a daring, off-the-shoulder black dress that would later be dubbed the Revenge Dress. And around her neck shone that very necklace. It was a silent declaration of strength, independence, and unbreakable dignity. What became of this historic piece? For a long time it was rumored to have been left to Prince Harry, and that the diamonds from it were used to create Meghan Markle's engagement ring. However, this is highly unlikely. Dismantling such a complete and historically significant object would be a true sacrilege. A more plausible theory suggests that 2 round diamonds from another, lesser-known brooch or bracelet of Diana's were used for Meghan's ring. The legendary choker necklace itself was most likely inherited by Prince William and now resides in the royal collection, awaiting its moment to shine again in public, perhaps on his wife, the Princess of Wales. But gifts to Diana came not only from the British crown. A generous present from a monarch from the other side of the world became one of the most versatile and frequently worn suites in her collection. This is the so-called Saudi suite, a wedding gift from the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Fahd. It was a truly regal suite from the House of Asprey, all in a matching design. It included a magnificent necklace of large pear-shaped sapphires and diamonds resembling sunbeams, massive earrings, a bracelet, a ring, and even a watch, whose face was framed in the same sapphire and diamond motif. Diana greatly appreciated this gift and showed incredible creativity in its use. She did not simply wear the entire suite to formal receptions. She broke the set into its component parts, creating new, unique looks. For instance, she removed the watch face from its strap and, attaching it to a wide band of dark blue velvet, created another famous choker, which she wore both around her neck and as a headband during a visit to Japan in 1986, causing a sensation. She also wore the earrings and the bracelet separately. This suite was also passed down to her sons after her death, and today we can see parts of it on Princess Catherine. She has appeared in public several times wearing the earrings from this set, which have been slightly modified to be lighter, drop-style earrings. It is a perfect example of how jewels continue their life, adapting to the style of a new generation. These jewels, received at the beginning of her royal life, symbolize the splendor and majesty of the monarchy. However, the last significant piece of jewelry associated with Diana's name tells a very different story. A story of love, hope, and a dream cut short. This necklace is known as the Swan Lake necklace. In the summer of 1997, during the final months of her life, Diana found happiness in her relationship with Dodi Fayed. He decided to give her a special gift and commissioned a magnificent set of a necklace and earrings from the House of Garrard, the very same jewelers who had created her engagement ring. It is said that Diana was involved in the design process. The necklace consisted of 178 diamonds, totaling approximately 50 carats, and 5 large, perfectly formed South Sea pearls. On June 3, 1997, Diana attended a performance of the ballet Swan Lake at the Royal Albert Hall. It was one of her last official public appearances. For this event, the jewelers loaned her the completed necklace while they worked on the matching earrings. Diana was radiant, but they never had time to finish the set. After the tragic deaths of Diana and Dodi in Paris, it came to light that the jewelry had not yet been fully paid for. In the world of high jewelry, it is common practice to lend pieces to famous clients for public appearances before the final transaction is complete. It is the best advertising for the brand. But since the deal was not finalized, the necklace was returned to the ownership of the House of Garrard. It was later sold to a private Ukrainian collector who, in turn, has put it up for auction several times. Its story is a poignant metaphor for the princess's own swan song. The story of the Swan Lake necklace, much like Diana's own life, was cut off mid-sentence. And this incompletion prompts us to consider the broader question of legacy. Princess Diana's jewels are not merely a collection of expensive baubles, they are a map of her life. The family tiara, pride in her heritage. The sapphire ring, a Cinderella story with a sorrowful ending. The choker necklace, a declaration of independence. The aquamarine ring, a symbol of hope and freedom. Each of these treasures continues its own life, being passed down through inheritance, appearing on red carpets and in royal boxes, reminding the world of the woman who wore them with such unique grace and dignity. It is important to remember that personal jewels, which can be gifted, sold, or redesigned, and the crown jewels are two different categories. The latter are the property of the nation, passed from monarch to monarch, and are not to be altered. Diana's legacy, however, is a living history that continues to be written before our very eyes. And as we look at the sapphire on the finger of the Princess of Wales or the aquamarine on the hand of the Duchess of Sussex, we are left to wonder, what is it that we truly inherit? Is it only precious stones and metals? Or is it something more? A piece of a soul, a sense of style, a memory, and the incredible strength that their first owner possessed? Which of these jewels and its story made the greatest impression on you? Share your thoughts in the comments. We would be very interested to know what you think. And of course, if you enjoyed this journey into the world of royal treasures, be sure to give this a like, subscribe to our channel, and press the notification bell so you don't miss our next fascinating stories. Thank you for watching, and until next time.